Businesswoman suspected employee. Was stealing from her restaurant and discovers something that makes her cry. Sarah had always had a special talent for cooking. From a young age, she spent hours in the kitchen with her grandmother, learning traditional recipes and experimenting with new flavors. Years later, this passion led her to open her own restaurant, Flavor Art, an elegant and cozy spot in the heart of the city. With its rustic charm and carefully crafted menu, the restaurant quickly became a landmark for food lovers. It was a sunny spring morning when Sarah, reviewing the restaurant's finances in her office, heard the front door open. Across the hall, she saw a young man enter hesitantly. He looked lost but determined. He wore simple clothes and had a look of someone who had faced many battles. Michael, the young man in question, was only 23, but his life had already been marked by numerous difficulties. The son of hard-working parents, he grew up in a poor neighborhood where opportunities were scarce. After finishing high school, he tried various jobs, but nothing seemed to fit. With the economy in crisis, finding a stable job was almost impossible. However, Michael did not give up. He knew he needed to keep trying, no matter how discouraging the situation seemed. Sarah watched Michael approach the counter and asked to speak with her. Adjusting her skirt and arranging her brown hair, Sarah walked over to him with a welcoming smile. "Hello, can I help you?" she asked, her voice sweet and confident. "Good morning. My name is Michael. I saw the job opening for a kitchen assistant in the window and would like to apply," he replied, a little nervous. Sarah evaluated him carefully. There was something in his eyes that caught her attention, a sparkle of determination and hope. She decided to give him a chance. "Sure, Michael. Let's go to my office to talk more," said Sarah, gesturing for him to follow her. In the office, sitting across from each other, Sarah began the interview. She wanted to know more about Michael, his skills, and most importantly, his character. "Tell me a little about yourself and why you want to work here," she asked, folding her hands on the desk. Michael took a deep breath before answering. He spoke about his passion for cooking, how he had helped his mother in the kitchen since he was a child, and about the various jobs he had had. He explained that despite not having much professional experience in the field, he was willing to learn and dedicate himself to the maximum. Sarah listened attentively, feeling a growing connection with this young man. He reminded her of her own journey and the difficulties she faced to open her restaurant. Decided to follow her intuition. She smiled and nodded. "All right, Michael, I'll give you a chance. You can start tomorrow at 8 in the morning. Be punctual and come ready to learn," said Sarah, extending her hand to seal the deal. Michael's eyes sparkled with joy and relief. He shook Sarah's hand firmly and gratefully. "Thank you very much, Ms. Sarah. I promise I won't disappoint you," he said sincerely. And so Michael was hired. Sarah felt she had made the right choice. Little did she know that this meeting would change their lives in unimaginable ways, and that challenges and twists were lurking, ready to test their strengths and values. The next morning, Michael arrived at Flavor Art before the scheduled time. He was anxious and determined to impress Sarah. Dressed in a simple but clean uniform, he waited at the door when she arrived. Sarah, always punctual, was pleasantly surprised to see her new employee already there. "Good morning, Michael. I see you are punctual," she said with a smile. "Good morning, Ms. Sarah." "I'm ready to start," he replied enthusiastically. Sarah led him to the kitchen, where she introduced Michael to the other staff members. Anne, the head chef, slightly older, with years of experience and a critical eye. John, the sous chef, young and ambitious, and Claire, the pastry chef, always smiling and with enviable patience. Each of them greeted Michael cordially but with a certain curiosity. "This is Michael, our new assistant. I want you all to help him settle in and teach him what is necessary," announced Sarah. Anne, the head chef, was the first to approach Michael. With a serious but not hostile expression, she began to explain the kitchen rules and job expectations. "Here we have a strict routine. We need precision and agility. If you are willing to learn, you'll do well. If not, we won't hesitate to show you the door," said Anne without beating around the bush. Michael nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He knew he would need to give his best to avoid disappointing them. The first days were challenging. Michael worked hard to learn quickly and adapt to the frantic pace of the kitchen. He chopped vegetables, washed dishes, and helped prepare ingredients under Anne's watchful eye. Each mistake was corrected firmly but patiently, and each success was a small victory for him. During breaks, Michael observed Sarah from a distance. She was always busy, dealing with suppliers, serving customers, and managing the team. He admired her ability to keep everything under control and her dedication to the restaurant. For him, Sarah was a role model. One night, when business at the restaurant slowed down, Sarah approached Michael. She wanted to know how he was feeling and if he needed anything. "Michael, how has your experience been so far?" she asked with genuine interest. "It's been a great learning experience, Mrs. Sarah. I know I still have a lot to improve, but I'm willing to do my best," he replied humbly. Sarah smiled, appreciating Michael's sincerity. "I'm glad to hear that. Dedication is an important quality, and I see that you have it in abundance. Keep it up, and you'll have a promising future here," she said, encouraging him. These words from Sarah were a great incentive for Michael. He felt that he was finally on the right path, finding purpose and direction in his life. As the days passed, Michael became more integrated with the team. John and Claire began to trust him with more complex tasks, and even Anne, with her critical eye, acknowledged the young man's progress. The atmosphere at Flavor Art was one of camaraderie and respect, and Michael felt part of a big family. However, not everything was rosy. Amidst this new phase of his life, Michael could not imagine the challenges that were yet to come. The financial discrepancy that would soon arise would shake everyone at the restaurant, testing their loyalties and forcing Sarah to make difficult and painful decisions. But for now, he focused on learning and growing, unaware that a storm was approaching on the horizon. Weeks passed, and the routine at Flavor Art continued intense but harmonious. Michael was now more confident in his tasks, and the team was starting to become a second family for him. Sarah, always attentive, continued to guide and motivate everyone around her, balancing her responsibilities with a touch of kindness and firmness. However, one morning, while Sarah was reviewing the restaurant's financial records, something caught her attention. There was a significant discrepancy in the records. The numbers didn't add up, and it seemed that a substantial amount of money was missing. Sarah frowned, feeling a growing unease in her chest. Determined to understand what was happening, she spent the morning meticulously analyzing each transaction. After hours of investigation, the conclusion was inescapable. Someone was diverting money. The idea of a dishonest employee on her team was devastating for Sarah, who always valued honesty and integrity. She knew she needed to act quickly, but also cautiously to avoid accusing anyone unjustly. That night, after the restaurant closed, Sarah gathered the entire team in the kitchen. There was a palpable tension in the air, as everyone could sense that something serious was happening. "Everyone, I need to talk to you about something important," Sarah began with a serious but controlled tone. "There is a financial discrepancy in our records. Money is disappearing, and we need to find out what is going on." Everyone looked at each other, surprised and worried. Michael felt a chill run down his spine. He knew that being the newest member of the team, suspicions could easily fall on him. "We all know how hard we work here, and this is unacceptable," Sarah continued. "I will conduct an investigation to find out what is happening. I ask that everyone cooperate and be honest." Anne, the head chef, was the first to speak up. "Sarah, this is terrible. Of course, we will do everything to help. No one here wants to see the restaurant in trouble," she said with a tone of concern. "Thank you, Anne. I trust that all of you will be truthful," Sarah replied, trying to stay calm. The meeting ended, and everyone went home with a heavy heart. In the following days, Sarah intensified her investigation, checking records and security cameras. Michael, for his part, worked with a growing sense of apprehension. He wanted to prove his innocence but didn't know how. One day, while Michael was washing dishes in the kitchen, Sarah approached him. She watched him for a few seconds before speaking. "Michael, can I talk to you in my office?" she asked with a tone that mixed seriousness and gentleness. Michael nodded, nervous, and followed Sarah to the office. They sat across from each other and Sarah began to speak. "Michael, I need you to be honest with me. Do you know anything about the missing money?" she asked, looking directly into his eyes. Michael felt his heart race. He knew this was his chance to prove his innocence, but the pressure was enormous. "Ms. Sarah, I swear I don't know anything. I would never do something like that. I'm here to learn and help, not to cause problems," he replied sincerely. Sarah observed him closely, trying to discern any sign of lying. However, all she saw was a genuinely worried and confused young man. "I believe you, Michael, but you need to understand the gravity of the situation. If there is anything you know or have seen, I need you to tell me," she insisted, with a note of urgency in her voice. Michael shook his head. "I haven't seen anything suspicious, Ms. Sarah, but I'm willing to help in any way I can to find out what's going on," he affirmed, determined. Sarah sighed, feeling a bit relieved. There was something about Michael's honesty that gave her hope. "Thank you, Michael. I will continue investigating. I hope this is resolved soon," she said with a slight smile. Michael left the office with a mixed feeling of relief and worry. He knew the investigation was far from over and that the coming days would be crucial to proving his innocence and discovering the real culprit. The weeks that followed were tense for everyone at Flavor Art. Sarah continued her investigation tirelessly, determined to find the truth. Each team member was under scrutiny, but Sarah tried to be fair and careful in her analysis. Michael, for his part, remained focused on his work, doing everything he could to demonstrate his dedication and honesty. He knew his position was at risk, but his determination to prove his innocence only grew. One morning, Sarah decided to review the security camera recordings once again. She spent hours analyzing every detail, looking for any clue that could clarify the mystery. It was then that she noticed something peculiar. Robert, her own son, entering the office at unusual hours. Sarah's heart sank. She didn't want to believe what her eyes were seeing, but the evidence was clear. Robert, who had distanced himself from the family business some time ago, was present at the moments when the money disappeared. Sarah felt a wave of sadness and despair. As a mother, she had always tried to give her son the best, but now she was facing a devastating reality. In the late afternoon, Sarah called Robert for a private conversation in the office. He arrived with a carefree smile, but upon seeing his mother's serious expression, he became tense. "Robert, I need to talk to you about something very serious," Sarah began, her voice trembling. "What is it, Mom?" he asked, trying to hide his worry. "I have been investigating the financial discrepancy at the restaurant and the evidence points to you. I saw you entering the office at strange hours. I need you to explain what is happening," she said, with a mix of pain and firmness. Robert turned pale. For a moment he tried to think of an excuse, but the truth was undeniable. He knew he could no longer hide what he had done. "Mom, I can explain," he began, stammering. "I was desperate. I got involved with gambling and things got out of control. I needed money to pay my debts and I didn't know what to do." Sarah felt a lump in her throat. The revelation was like a blow, but she remained firm. "Robert, are you saying that you diverted money from the restaurant?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Yes, Mom. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you or the restaurant. I just didn't know how to get out of this situation," he confessed with tears in his eyes. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, trying to process the information. The pain and disappointment were overwhelming, but she knew she needed to make a difficult decision. "Robert, I love you. I have always loved you and will always love you. But what you did is unacceptable. You put many people's work and the restaurant's reputation at risk. I need you to leave and resolve your problems. I can't allow you to continue working here," she said, with tears streaming down her face. Robert lowered his head, feeling the weight of the consequences of his actions. He knew his mother was right, but it didn't make the situation any less painful. "I understand, Mom. I'll go. I promise I'll try to recover and change," he said, his voice choked with emotion. Sarah nodded, unable to speak further. Robert left the office, leaving her alone with her pain and sadness. She knew she had done what was necessary, but it didn't lessen the suffering of seeing her son in this situation. After the painful revelation, the atmosphere at Flavor Art was tense, but Sarah knew she needed to move forward. The decision to distance Robert had been difficult but necessary. She could not allow her son's actions to jeopardize everything she had built. The team, although aware of the delicate situation, respected Sarah's strength and resilience. Michael, who observed everything from afar, felt deep empathy for Sarah. He understood the weight of difficult decisions and admired his boss even more for the courage and integrity she showed. Despite the challenges, he remained dedicated to his work, determined to repay the trust Sarah had placed in him. One day, while reviewing plans for the restaurant's future, Sarah decided it was time to make some changes. She needed someone she fully trusted to take on greater responsibilities, and Michael seemed like the right choice. She called a meeting with him, eager to share her decision. "Michael, I'd like to talk to you about something important," she began, as they both sat in the office. "Sure, Miss Sarah, I'm at your disposal," he replied respectfully. "I've been observing your work and dedication since you arrived here. You have shown yourself to be a trustworthy person, and I think you are ready to take on more responsibilities," said Sarah with an encouraging smile. Michael was surprised but deeply grateful. He knew this was a great opportunity. "Thank you very much for your trust, Ms. Sarah. I will do my best to meet your expectations," he said, moved. "I know you will, Michael, and I have an idea I'd like to discuss with you. I'm thinking of expanding the restaurant, perhaps opening a new unit, and I want you by my side on this new project," she explained enthusiastically. Michael's eyes sparkled with excitement and gratitude. Sarah's proposal was a huge vote of confidence and a chance to grow even more. "It will be an honor, Ms. Sarah. I'm excited to start," he replied with a broad smile. Meanwhile, Sarah also began to consider another idea, collaborating with Julie, her talented neighbor, who had always shown interest and skill in the culinary field. Julie was known in the community for her delicious cakes and breads, and Sarah knew this partnership could bring something new and special to the restaurant. Sarah invited Julie for coffee, where they discussed the possibility of working together. Julie, enthusiastic and honored by the invitation, gladly accepted. The two began planning the details of the new unit, combining their skills and visions to create something truly unique. As Sarah worked tirelessly to ensure a promising future for Flavor Art, a part of her heart was still worried about Robert. She hoped he would learn from his mistakes and find a better path. She didn't want to abandon him, but she knew he needed to face the consequences of his actions to truly change. With Michael promoted to a position of greater responsibility and Julie joining the team with her exceptional skills, Flavor Art was starting to gain new energy. The planning of the new unit was in full swing, and the energy in the restaurant was one of renewal and hope. Sarah devoted herself intensely to the project, dividing her time between the current restaurant and preparations for the expansion. Michael, now more confident and skilled, proved to be a true pillar of support. He supervised the team, ensuring that everything ran smoothly, while Julie brought her creativity and passion to the kitchen, delighting customers with her creations. One day, Sarah received an unexpected call from an old friend, Claire, who worked as a journalist for a renowned culinary magazine. Claire had heard about the expansion of Flavor Art and wanted to do a feature on the restaurant and its future plans. Sarah saw this as a golden opportunity to promote the new venture. "Of course, Claire, it will be a pleasure to have you here. Can we schedule a visit for next week?" suggested Sarah, excited. "Perfect, Sarah. I can't wait to see the news and write about your incredible work," replied Claire enthusiastically. In the days leading up to Claire's visit, Sarah and her team dedicated themselves to preparing the restaurant, ensuring everything was perfect. When Claire finally arrived, she was greeted with a feast of flavors and stories. She was impressed by the passion and dedication of Sarah, Michael, and Julie, and wrote an article praising Sarah's vision and courage in expanding her business. The article was published and received fantastic feedback. New customers started visiting the restaurant, eager to try the dishes and learn about the story behind Flavor Art. The success brought a new wave of energy and motivation to everyone. Meanwhile, Sarah continued to worry about Robert. She knew he was trying to recover, but the path was difficult. Determined to help in some way, Sarah contacted an old friend, Peter, who worked at a rehabilitation and support center for gambling addicts. "Peter, I'm worried about my son. He got involved in gambling and is trying to recover. Do you think you can help him?" asked Sarah, hopeful. "Of course, Sarah. We'll do everything we can to help him. Bring him here, and we'll work together to help him overcome this," replied Peter with compassion. Sarah talked to Robert, and despite his initial reluctance, he agreed to seek help. He knew he needed to face his problems and was willing to try. Sarah accompanied him to the rehabilitation center, where Peter and his team began working with him. While Robert started his recovery journey, Sarah focused on the restaurant and the new unit. Michael and Julie became not only her collaborators but true friends and partners. The new unit of Flavor Art was about to be inaugurated, and the excitement was palpable. On the night of the inauguration, the restaurant was filled with guests, friends, and family. Sarah gave an emotional speech, thanking everyone for their support and trust. This new beginning is the result of the hard work and dedication of each one of you. I want to thank especially Michael and Julie for being by my side and believing in this dream. And also to all our customers who have always supported us. May this new phase be filled with success and happiness for all of us, said Sarah, with tears of joy in her eyes. The audience gave her a standing ovation, and the night was a great success. While toasting with her team and friends, Sarah felt that despite all the challenges, she was on the right path. She knew there was still much to be done, but with love, dedication, and support, anything was possible. A few months after the inauguration of the new unit of Flavor Art, the restaurant was thriving. The partnership between Sarah, Michael, and Julie was growing stronger every day, and customers kept coming, attracted by the excellent reputation and culinary delights. However, Sarah's mind often wandered to her son Robert and his recovery. Robert was progressing at the rehabilitation center. The work with Peter and the team was starting to show results. Robert was facing his demons with courage and slowly beginning to regain his self-confidence. Sarah visited him regularly, offering support and unconditional love. One afternoon, during one of her visits, Robert asked to speak with Sarah privately. "Mom, I want to apologize once again for everything I did. I know I messed up, and I'm trying to change. I promise I will do everything to recover and be a better person," he said sincerely. Sarah held Robert's hands, feeling a wave of emotion. "I believe in you, my son. I know you can overcome this. I am proud of your progress and will always be here to support you," she replied with tears in her eyes. Robert smiled, feeling encouraged by his mother's words. He knew there was still a long way to go, but hope was being reborn in his heart. Meanwhile, at Flavor Art, Michael and Julie continued to bring innovations to the restaurant. They created new dishes, organized special events, and attracted a loyal and enthusiastic clientele. The restaurant's reputation was growing, and business was booming. One day, during a planning meeting, Michael had an idea. "Miss Sarah, what do you think about organizing a charity event? We could raise funds to help other people facing difficulties like Robert. I think it would be a great way to give back to the community and show that we are committed to making a difference," he suggested. Sarah was touched by the idea. "Michael, that's a wonderful idea. Let's plan this together and do something really special," she said with enthusiasm. The team dedicated themselves to organizing the event, which quickly gained community support. Flavor Art transformed into a center of solidarity. With live music, special dishes, and an atmosphere of unity and hope, customers, friends, and family came in droves, contributing generously to the cause. During the event, Sarah gave an emotional speech. "This event is not just about raising funds, but about showing that together we can make a difference. I thank each one of you for being here and believing in our work. Let's continue to support each other and build a better future for everyone," she said with her voice full of emotion. The event was an absolute success, raising a significant amount that was donated to various support organizations. Sarah felt fulfilled and proud of her team and the community they had created together. A few days after the event, Robert was discharged from the rehabilitation center. He was stronger and determined to rebuild his life. He decided to visit the restaurant to thank everyone for their support. When Robert entered Flavor Art, he was greeted with hugs and words of encouragement. Michael and Julie welcomed him warmly, and Sarah couldn't hold back her tears of joy and pride. "Mom, I'm ready to start over. I want to help in any way I can and show that I am capable of change," said Robert with determination. Sarah hugged her son tightly. "I am so happy for you, Robert. I know you can do it. Let's work together and build an even better future," she replied, with her heart overflowing with love. Robert began working at the restaurant, learning from Michael and Julie, and dedicating himself to rebuilding his life. Flavor Art continued to thrive, now with a renewed sense of purpose and unity. The story of Sarah, Michael, Julie, and Robert intertwined in a tapestry of resilience, love, and hope, showing that with courage and support, any challenge could be overcome and redemption found. With Robert back at the restaurant and demonstrating renewed determination, the atmosphere at Flavor Art was more positive than ever. The team united around a common goal: to create a harmonious work environment and continue to offer the best to their customers. Sarah watched Robert's progress with a mix of pride and relief. She knew he would still face challenges, but she saw a new maturity in her son that gave her hope. Michael and Julie became strong mentors and friends to Robert, helping him reintegrate and teaching him the nuances of the business. One day, while everyone was busy in the kitchen, Sarah decided to have a candid conversation with Robert. They sat in the small break area behind the restaurant, where Sarah served 2 cups of fresh coffee. "Robert, I want you to know that I am very proud of you. I know it has been difficult, but you are showing incredible strength," said Sarah, looking into her son's eyes. "Thank you, Mom. I wouldn't be here without your support and everyone at the restaurant. I know I still have a lot to learn, but I am determined to do this right," replied Robert sincerely. "And you will, my son. We are all here to help. And remember, we can always find a way forward no matter how difficult it seems," she said, squeezing his hand affectionately. Meanwhile, Michael and Julie continued to innovate in the restaurant's menu, introducing new dishes and organizing themed events that attracted more and more customers. The success of Flavor Art was a combination of talent, dedication, and an unbreakable team spirit. One special event they planned was a wine tasting night, combined with exclusive dishes created by Julie. The night was a resounding success, with fully booked reservations and enthusiastic praise from customers. Michael was especially proud of Julie, who demonstrated her skill and creativity in the kitchen more and more. "Julie, you outdid yourself again. These dishes were exceptional," said Michael at the end of the night as they closed the restaurant. "Thank you, Michael. I couldn't have done it without your support. We make a great team," replied Julie with a smile. In the meantime, Sarah also took time for herself, something she had neglected for a long time. She started taking morning walks in the park and practicing yoga, seeking a balance that previously seemed unattainable. The renewed energy and inner peace were reflected in her leadership, and Flavor Art flourished under her guidance. One day, while walking in the park, Sarah met an old friend, Mary, who was also a businesswoman. The two began to talk about their journeys and challenges. Mary suggested that Sarah consider writing a book about her experience. "Sarah, your story is inspiring. You have faced so many challenges and still managed to thrive. I think many people would benefit from hearing your story," said Mary enthusiastically. The idea intrigued Sarah. She had never thought about writing a book, but she realized that sharing her experiences could help others. She decided to seriously consider the idea and began jotting down her memories and lessons learned over the years. While Sarah dedicated herself to this new project, Robert continued to excel at the restaurant and the culinary school. His recovery was progressing well, and he found satisfaction in helping the students and sharing his experiences. The transformation of Robert was a source of pride for Sarah, who saw in him the proof that change was possible. Michael, on the other hand, continued to innovate in the restaurant and the school, always seeking new ways to surprise and delight. He and Julie formed an unbeatable duo, combining talent and creativity to create unforgettable culinary experiences. Their recognition in the culinary scene was growing, and both were becoming respected and admired figures. One day, while discussing new projects, Michael brought up an interesting proposal. "Ms. Sarah, what do you think about organizing a culinary festival? We could invite renowned chefs, hold workshops and competitions. It would be a great way to promote the school and attract even more attention to our work," he suggested enthusiastically. Sarah loved the idea. A culinary festival would be an excellent opportunity to showcase the talent of her team and the quality of their teaching. "Michael, that's brilliant. Let's start planning immediately. I'll get in touch with some acquaintances and see how we can make this happen," she replied with a smile. Julie was also excited about the idea and began sketching plans for the workshops and competitions. The team came together to organize the event, each contributing their skills and ideas. While Sarah was busy preparing for the festival, she finally finished her book. Entitled Flavors of Life, it narrated her journey, the challenges she faced, and the lessons she learned. The launch was an emotional event with friends, family, and customers celebrating Sarah's success and resilience. With the inauguration of the culinary school, and the continued success of Flavor Art, Sarah felt fulfilled. Her vision of creating a space where the passion for cooking could flourish was coming true. However, she knew that life always brought new challenges and opportunities, and she was ready to face them with the same determination as always. Robert, now more confident and balanced, was excelling not only in the restaurant's management, but also as a mentor at the culinary school. He dedicated himself to teaching young, aspiring chefs, sharing his experiences and learnings. His journey of recovery and transformation was an inspiration to everyone around him. Michael, in turn, continued to innovate at the restaurant and the school, always looking for new ways to surprise and delight. He and Julie formed an unbeatable duo, combining talent and creativity to create unforgettable culinary experiences. Their recognition in the culinary scene was growing, and both were becoming respected and admired figures. One day, while discussing new projects, Michael brought up an interesting proposal. "Miss Sarah, what do you think about organizing a culinary festival? We could invite renowned chefs, hold workshops and competitions. It would be a great way to promote the school and attract even more attention to our work," he suggested enthusiastically. Sarah loved the idea. A culinary festival would be an excellent opportunity to showcase the talent of her team and the quality of their teaching. "Michael, that's brilliant. Let's start planning immediately. I'll get in touch with some acquaintances and see how we can make this happen," she replied with a smile. Julie was also excited about the idea and began sketching plans for the workshops and competitions. The team came together to organize the event, each contributing their skills and ideas. While Sarah was busy preparing for the festival, she finally finished her book, entitled Flavors of Life. It narrated her journey, the challenges she faced, and the lessons she learned. The launch was an emotional event with friends, family, and customers celebrating Sarah's success and resilience. With the success of the culinary festival and the continued growth of Flavor Art, Sarah felt that her life was in a moment of full bloom. The restaurant was a center of innovation and welcome. The school was transforming lives, and the book was inspiring people across the country. However, she knew that the journey was far from over, especially with Robert still in the process of recovery. Robert, now with a more robust treatment plan and a strengthened support network, was determined to rebuild his life. The constant presence of Michael, Julie, and Sarah gave him the strength to move forward. He knew the path would not be easy, but he was more committed than ever to overcoming his internal battles. One day, Sarah decided to organize a special event at the restaurant, a celebration of new beginnings. The idea was to gather stories of overcoming and transformation, creating a space for everyone to share their experiences and support each other. Michael and Julie loved the idea and began planning the event with enthusiasm. "Mizzy Sarah, I think this event could be an incredible opportunity to strengthen our community even more. Let's invite people from all over, share stories, and celebrate our achievements," suggested Michael excitedly. "I agree, Michael. This will be a moment of unity and hope. Let's show that no matter how difficult the challenge is, we can always start over," replied Sarah with a smile. The event was organized carefully, and in a few days, Flavor Art was ready to receive the guests. The space was decorated with photographs and inspiring messages, creating a welcoming and festive atmosphere. On the night of the event, the restaurant was packed. Customers, friends, family, and new visitors gathered to share their stories. Sarah opened the night with an emotional speech. "Welcome to our event of new beginnings. This is a space to celebrate the strength and resilience of each of us. Everyone here has faced challenges, but kept fighting and seeking change. I hope this night is a symbol of hope and unity for everyone," she said with her voice filled with emotion. Throughout the night, several people took to the stage to share their stories. There were tears, laughter, and applause as each story revealed the courage and determination of the participants. Robert, feeling inspired and strengthened, decided to share his story as well. "Hello everyone, I'm Robert, Sarah's son. In recent months I have faced enormous challenges, but with the support of my family and friends, I am learning to recover and find a new path. I want to thank everyone for being here and showing that we are never alone in our battles," he said sincerely. The audience applauded warmly, and Sarah felt immense pride in her son. She knew he still had a long way to go, but she saw the strength and determination in his eyes. The event was a success, further strengthening the bonds of the flavor art community. Sarah, Michael, Julie, and Robert worked together to create an atmosphere of welcome and hope, showing that with support and love, any challenge could be overcome. In the following months, the restaurant and the culinary school continued to thrive. Sarah dedicated herself to her work with renewed enthusiasm, always seeking new ways to innovate and support her community. Michael and Julie stood out even more, bringing new talents to the school and creating unforgettable culinary experiences. Robert, now more confident and stable, continued to excel, helping with management and training new employees. His journey of recovery and transformation was an inspiration to everyone around him. He found satisfaction in seeing the positive impact that flavor art had on people's lives, knowing that he was part of something bigger. Sarah reflected on her journey, feeling grateful for everything they had achieved. Flavor art was not just a restaurant, it was a community. Here they believed in the power of cooking to transform lives and unite people. Their goal was to create an environment where everyone felt welcome and inspired to follow their dreams. The expansion of flavor art and the creation of new projects were living proof that with determination, love, and support, it was possible to overcome any obstacle and create a bright future. Sarah, Michael, Julie, and Robert continued to face new challenges with courage and hope, always together, always united. And so, flavor art and the culinary school continued to grow and prosper, creating a bright future and impacting lives around the world.